there everyone, it's Kathy and you're back here on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. As many of you know, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in the beautiful state of North Carolina. But I can take care of you if you're not currently working with a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're interested in any of the beautiful products that we're going to show today, then I'll be more than glad to help you with getting your order placed, helping you find the best deals, and I'll be your coach. I'll help you with anything that you need along the way. So I'm always a text, a phone call, or an email away, and I do my very best to get back with my customers ASAP. So before we get started, I want to let everyone know that this is the brand new mini catalog that's coming out January the 4th. This catalog will go live. I am not allowed, I'd definitely be breaking compliance if I open this catalog. I'm not able to open it or show you anything in it until after January 4th. But I am, as a demonstrator, able to pre-order starting December 1st. So I'll be getting some of these products in. As soon as they start rolling in, I can start showing you the products. I can show you what I do with them. I just can't open the catalog until then. But as I start making things, I will be listing the item numbers. You can jot those down, make yourself a list, and you'll be all ready to order when these catalogs go live on January the 4th, 2022. Hard to believe that we're moving along into this particular century so quickly. But anyway, also at the beginning of every mini catalog now, it used to only be once a year, but now they're doing it twice a year, offering a celebration. And you may ask yourself, if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up!, what is celebration? Celebration is where Stampin' Up! Wants to reward you for your purchases. So for every $50 that you order out of the mini catalog or the annual catalog, you can choose a free item. Absolutely free. You can't buy what's in this catalog. You can only earn it for free. There are some items in here that takes a $100 purchase to get, but most of them are $50. So if you do spend $100, you can get that one larger, more expensive item, or you can opt to get two of the smaller ones. There's some beautiful things in here that I know you are going to love, and y'all will see me working with these as well in the coming months. So just wanted to throw that out there. Now, if you are not currently my customer, or you have not placed an order with me in the last 6 months, please shoot me an email. My email will pop up right about here, and it will also be in the description below in case you don't get a chance to jot it down. But you can always pause the video right here, write that email down. Also, my phone number, where you can text me to that number because it is my cell, and leave me your name, your address, and tell me, yes, please add me to the mailing list, and I will take care of that and make sure that you get a catalog. But tomorrow's my deadline. I have to send my order form up for the new catalog selector, and what that means is it is a selection of people that I have chosen. I'm able to send y'all out a catalog at a much discounted price. And for any of my demonstrators out there, the people, the girls that have signed up under me, remember that you can pre-order starting on December the 1st, which is day after, which is actually Wednesday. So hurry and get your list made. I have already made mine. I might have to go through and knock it back a little bit, but I have made my list, and I can't wait to get in there and get some of these new products. That's always an exciting time to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Okay, with all that being said, I've been asked many times, how do you get your inspiration? Well, I'm going to show you. Here is my cell phone. So I am going to go on here, and I pulled up this card. Is that not a gorgeous card? Now, this particular card, I don't think I didn't see where it said that it used Stampin' Up! Items. So I'm improvising, and I'm going to make this card very similar, but a little different, and I'm going to make it a Stampin' Up! Card. And in doing that, this was my rendition of it. Now, it is different, much different, but I use much of the same concept. If you can see, the poinsettia is beautiful. I did mine in cherry cobbler with the gold accents and the little pearl center, which I thought turned out absolutely gorgeous. And I used some beautiful ribbon on it. I tied a little double loop bow, and I did my strips, and I'm going to show you how I made this entire card. So very simple, and let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need, because I'm using my base, is cherry cobbler. So I'm going to bring, this is a piece that is 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. And I'm going to do that using my scoreboard, because I've already pre-cut everything. So I'm just going to put this up in here, nice and tight up into that corner. I'm going to use my smaller end on my stylus, and I'm just going to go to 4 1/4. So that would be half of 8.5. So I'm just going to go down, score that really good. Now when I fold mine, I like to flip it over. I want that mountain, that ridge, to be facing up rather than in. I just find that I get a much better fold that way, and I'm going to fold it right into the side of the scoreboard, and I'm going to grab a bone folder, and I am going to crease, 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 and now I have a perfectly folded card base. So I'm going to move this out of my way. Once I get that out of my way, I am going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to just iron the entire surface of my cardstock. Just like that. Just like that. And now my card is laying nice and flat. The other thing that I did is I took a piece of Sahara Sand. No, that's not the right one. Oh, I am going to need my trimmer, because I didn't get this trimmed quite right. Let's see. We got another piece over here. Maybe this is it. Yeah, this is the right one. I must have picked up the wrong piece. This is a piece of Crumb Cake. And with this Crumb Cake, this is Sahara Sand. This is a much lighter, grayer look. We're going to save that for a minute. We're going to work on this piece. And I am going to grab a piece of scrap paper. And y'all can see I had done a little bit of ink blending on this. I'm going to iron out my little edges. Just like that. And what I want to do now is I want to grab my cherry cobbler ink, and I have a blending brush here that I've dedicated for my reds, and all I want to do is I want to hit around my edges just a tiny little bit. I pulled out my time-worn type. This is a beautiful, beautiful, very old vintage looking embossing folder. So I'm going to emboss first. So I'm going to lay this down, and I want it to come right to that line. Stampin' Up thinks of everything, and they have a little registration line that you can line your piece up on to make sure everything's nice and straight. But you know what? I don't want it landscape, so let's turn it. Always kind of think through that and make sure that you're getting your cardstock where you want it. I want it right along in the middle, lined up in this direction. Fold that over, and I'm going to turn this over like this. You always want to feed your folders through with the folded edge together and going in that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out my #1 plate. This is on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and because this is a 3D folder, and I know it is because I labeled it, and any of your thick folders are always dynamic or 3D. So some companies call them dynamic, some calls them 3D. It's still all the same. They're the thicker embossing folders. So we have a specialty plate called a #4 plate. It is made to use only with your thick plates, and you use nothing but a 1 plate, your folder with your paper in it, and then the #4 plate on top. And we're going to run this through. And I'm just going to crank this through my machine and pull it out. And then we have this beautiful piece that is Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? I'm hoping y'all are picking up the beautiful type and the vintage look. I also want to do this piece the same way, but I'm going to do this one in this direction. And there's a reason for that, and you'll see in just a moment. But I'm going to lay it in like this, close it up, put it on like that, that same plate over top, and run this through. And now we have this one done. And we're going to be cutting strips off of this one. So I'm just going to lay that up out of my way. And I'm going to put my folder and my plate back over there because I don't need that right now. And I'm going to bring this darker piece. This is the Crumb Cake. And I'm going to take my blending brush and my cherry cobbler ink, and all I want to do is hit around the edges, because looking back at my picture, you see how this has been hit around the edges to give it that older vintage look. I'm going to do the same thing with mine. So all I'm going to do is ink, and I want to tap over here because see that intense ink that I have, and then I'm going to go in circular motions and just hit along the corners and the top edge, just like that. And then I want to turn it, tap, tap, swirl, again just getting that corner, just like that. And then I'm going to turn it, I'm going to tap it off, swirl it. This is a great way to add just a little bit of something extra on your cards without it, you know, being so overpowering. Very subtle, but beautiful. And I'm just going to rub this and just kind of blend everything together. Isn't that gorgeous? So I've got that like I want it, so I'm going to lay that over to the side. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to hit these pieces, but I want to cut them first. I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and slice those. So let me lay that over here. And I'm going to cut these off. I know this is 4 1/4. So I want to cut these at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to go over to 3/4, line it up, and slice. And I need about 4 of those. So 3/4 and slice. 3/4 and slice. And 3/4 and slice. Just like that, and we can just lay that piece over. Now what I need to do is I want to do that angle that it was showing how these were punched, and in order to do that I'm going to use a punch, and this one is called the Banner Triple Punch. This will allow you to make a banner cut like this in any one of these sizes, and I believe it goes from, we'll measure it and see. It goes from 2 inches to 1 3/4 to 1 inch. So you can do these, you know, what width you want by lining them up in these grooves. Or they can be like this and not be either one. But let me show you how I get mine even. I open it up, and I don't look at it from the other side, I look at it from this side. And I like to hold it like this with my right hand because I have more control. And once I get that lined up in there about like that, then I punch, turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing to each one of these. And I'll get these punched and we'll be right back. Alright, so I got each one of these punched, And so now we have our little angle. So I'm turning these over to make sure that they're going in the embossed side is up like I want them to be. And I'm going to bring this back over and I'm going to lay them on here, and all I want to do is hit them with just a little color right on each end. And you can see the ink clears off of these brushes really simply and very easily. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to do a little bit like that and a little bit like that. All you want it to do is just have a tiny bit of a pink hue to it. Doesn't have to be real red. You just want enough of color that it will look very pretty and look a little bit worn. And you can do this with any color that you like. I thought about doing my second one, and instead of using a cherry cobbler, I thought about doing it in the navy, but then I decided not to. I decided to go with the red because, I don't know, I just love the red. So I thought it would be nice to show you a card that I had finished and then walk you through the entire process of making it. So I'm just going to clean that brush off a little bit on this piece of scrap paper. Just like that. And now I want to bring over my piece, and I want to go ahead and put these down on here. I think this will be our first thing to do. And we are going to, let's see. I don't think you can really tell the writing on it, so it really doesn't matter. We just want to kind of get these even on here. So what I like to do is I like to put one down on each side, each end, and then fit the other two in the middle like this. This gives you a better chance of getting them spaced properly than doing it the other way. So once I get those like I want them, then I'm going to pull these two up, and I'm going to go ahead and use some Stampin' Seal. And we're going to put these down just using some plain old tape runner, Stampin' Seal, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you have on hand. So I'm going to put this one right about here, right about there. I just want to make sure that they're nice and even, and then adhere it down. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to do this one. And this stuff is so nice and sticky that I don't think you're going to have to worry about it not sticking. I do want to get it over about the same amount of distance from the edge as that one, and kind of eyeball them so that they're even this way. And press them down. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one and make sure that we have about the same spacing for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and run my tape runner across this and put this down right about here. Press it, and then we're going to do the last one right like that. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I did. It was so much fun. And you know, if you find that you got a bigger gap, then bring it over so you got the larger gap in the middle. It doesn't matter because so much of this is going to be covered that you're not going to really be able to tell it once you get everything on here. So I think that looks really nice like that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take a piece of ribbon, and I've got this beautiful cherry cobbler ribbon. This is cherry cobbler and gold metallic. It is a beautiful, beautiful ribbon, and I will list that in the bottom. And we're going to run a piece across here. So in order to do that, I want to run a piece of my tape right across here like that. And then I want to take just a tail over, about that much over, so I can wrap it around. And I'm going to just stretch that out across there. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut a little piece. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to run a piece of tape there and a piece there. And I'm just going to fold this over into that tape runner or adhesive. Just like that. Now we have our ribbon is down. So the next thing I want to do is I want to cut out my poinsettia. So what I did is I loaded up all of my poinsettia pieces onto a piece of cherry cobbler, and I used my Versamark ink, and I went ahead and stamped each piece in the Versamark ink, and then I went back with my gold embossing powder and I sprinkled it very freely, and I heat set it. And when you do that, you get these beautiful gold poinsettias like that. So I'm going to take the die machine, or the die cuts, the dies that cuts these out, and if you notice on our piece of, let me get the poinsettia dies. Lots of dies in this package. Each one of your larger flowers, not only do you get the embossing that goes in the middle, but you get the outline. So if you stamp them and you decide you want to cut them out, you can just place them onto your piece and cut them, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to take these to the die cut machine and get them cut, and we'll be right back. So now we have them cut out. What I did is I took the bone folder and just curled my leaves so that they would go down. And the reason for that is because when you press this down, it's going to give your leaves that curvature that's going to make them look real. And what we want to do is we want to stack the petals where they offset each other every other way so that it fills in completely like this. But we're going to use a Stampin Dimensional in between. So I'm going to grab my large ones as well as my small ones. And on the larger flower, I'm going to put a large one right in the center. And we're going to peel off that backer. And then offsetting, make sure that your leaves are offset like this. And set that down right on top. Press it. And then we're going to use a smaller dimensional for the smaller flower. And I'm going to stick this right in the middle of that one. Take the backer off. And we're going to lay this one down, and we're going to do the same thing. We're offsetting once again, just like that. Now that is your flower. On the very back of this, we are going to put a Stampin' Dimensional. Take the back off of it. And I'm going to lay one more down on top of that one, just for some added height. Let me turn this light back on. I think that's much, much better. Now I'm not going to take that backer off until I'm ready to put this on, and I'm not ready yet. I am going to take some pearls, just some of our little basic, the pearl basic jewels, and we're going to build inside of here the middle. And that's going to make our flower look like it is popped and come to life. So I'm just going to pull these out, and I like to push mine in on the side. It just makes it much easier when I get ready to pick these up. And I'm using the small ones. So I'm going to make a line down the middle, just like this. 1, 2. And I want these to be nice and straight and in line as best we can get them. Press on them, and then we're going to do one, and 2. Then we're going to come over on this side, and we're going to put 2 more over on that side, and that's going to give us that complete little circle look around the middle of our poinsettia, just like that. See how pretty that looks? Love the way that came together. Okay, so now we're done with the poinsettia. We're going to move it off, and I am going to attempt to show you how to tie a bow like the one I did earlier. So I'm going to pull off maybe about 22 inches of this beautiful ribbon and just go ahead and cut it. You don't want to do this on the spool because you won't be able to. And this is a finger bow, and I'm going to actually do a tutorial on how to do this. All right, lay your ribbon across your hand, hold it, wrap under and then over and over, and then you're going to feed that through that finger, back up and around and up underneath this one, and then you're going to pull, rocking it back and forth. Once you do that, you're going to pull it off of your fingers, and you are going to have your bow. Nice, beautiful, double looped bow. And you can fidget with it just a little bit and get your loops like you want them. But this is pretty much what you're going to have. And then you can pull your tails down like so. Fan these out. And once you get them like you want them, you know, no bow is perfect until you fidget with it a little bit. The nature of bows. And then once you get that like you want it, just pull this loop up here, just like that, and this one up here, like so. And then you got a nice pretty double bow, just like that. Now if we wanted to make it a little bit smaller, all we're going to do is not pull our fingers apart quite as far. So let me show you that. Okay, so we're going to start here, and we're going to go over, under, over, over. Thread this through your fingers right there. Make sure that loop does not come off. Pull it up like that and over like this, and then you want to tuck that back up underneath that one. And then once you get it like that, then you're going to pull, shimmy it back and forth. Just do the little rocking action just like that, and that's your bow. Pull it off of your fingers. If you got fat fingers like me, it can be a little difficult, but shimmy it off. Now this one turned out much better because it's smaller. Pull your tails down, and there is your perfect little double bow. So what I like to do is once I get it like this, I like to lay it flat, and then I like to trim it. Let's see, let's go like this, and like that. And now our bow is ready for a card. Simple and elegant and oh so beautiful. See how pretty that turned out? So, and I will be doing a tutorial on taking it really slow and showing you step by step how to do this. So now we're going to bring our card back over, and we have our poinsettia ready. So I am going to set the poinsettia right about there. That's where I want it to land. The other thing that we need, we've got our bow, so that's going to go right about here. And I went ahead and cut a couple of leaves out from the dies, and this was just the dies. See how beautiful it embosses them? And we've got a couple of beautiful leaves for our poinsettia. So I want one leaf to tuck under here, and maybe one about here. I'm just going to lay everything out, and then we will put it together. The other thing that we need is we need another piece of the crumb cake. So off of this piece, I'm going to cut a piece, but I also need a piece of the cherry cobbler. So I'm looking to see if I had a scrap of that. And I'm not seeing a scrap. Oh my word. Is this, yeah, that'll work. So this little scrap right here is going to work perfectly because we're going to need a piece that is about, let me look at this one and I can tell you measurement wise, it is going to be 3 inches by 1 inch. So 3 by 1. So I'm going to put this in at 1 inch and slice. And then I'm going to turn it to 3 inches and cut it off at 3. And then we're going to need a piece of the crumb cake. I think this one will work. And we're going to put it in at 3/4 and cut it off. And then we're going to cut this at 2 3/4. So it's just going to be a little bit smaller than the one we did. And that is ready. So what I want to do is I want to stamp on this one. And I am going to stamp Christmas cheer throughout the year. And that's going to be this one right here. And we're going to do that in the cherry cobbler. But before I do that, I want to ink this up just a little bit as well. So I'm going to bring my piece of paper back over that we've been working with. And we're going to lay that down and take our cherry cobbler. And all I want to do is just kind of make everything cohesive. So it doesn't have to be a lot. Just needs to be a little bit of color. Just like that. That is plenty of color. Clean that off. Now I want to stamp that, so I'm going to stamp it with this one, Christmas cheer throughout the year. So I'm going to straighten that up, and then looking over, I'm hoping my head's not in the way. Right over top, press it, press it, press it. And that looks gorgeous. I'm going to get a little bit of that ink off right here. And then let's close this up. And now we can go ahead and I'm going to put some Stampin Dimensionals behind that. So I need my full ones. So the little ones, I need the top size. And I know I had them just a moment ago. These are the minis. We'll just grab some new ones. The other ones will turn up. And I'm going to put like 3 across the back of this, just so that I can make sure that everything is anchored well. So I'm going to put 1 on each end and 1 in the middle. Just like that, and then put this down. Like so. No, Toby, it's okay. He sounded like he was getting ready to take off barking, so I thought I would try to catch him at the pass, so to speak. So now I'm going to bring this piece back over, and I think I'm going to go ahead and build everything on here before I go any further. So I'm going to go ahead and put my poinsettia on next. So I'm going to take that adhesive off, and I'm going to sit this right about here, like so. I want this to come just up under the point like that. I want this cute little bow. Oops, that's fraying. Let's see if I can trim this a little bit more so it doesn't fray. And then we can put that right there, and I'm going to do that with a glue dot. And we'll put this right about there. And then this can come over and go right under that, something like this. And I'm going to put this down with just some liquid glue. And give that a good press. And now the last thing we have to do is I've got these gold leaves, not the absolute last thing, but one of the last things. And I want to put these on using, I think I'll just use glue dots. You could use dimensionals, you could use whatever you like, but I'm gonna put that on with the glue dot because I want to curl the leaf just a tiny bit. Like that, and I'm going to sit that under there like so, and then I'm going to take another glue dot, lift one up off of there, and I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to curl this leaf as well, like so, and this one's going to go right down here. The good thing about those glue dots, you can just touch them and they adhere. So now that is all ready to go onto our card base. So let's bring the card base over. And for this, I think I'm going to go with liquid glue. And this will be another one of our Christmas card series, a card in our 2021 Christmas card series, and I have a playlist for all of those, so if you are looking for more of my creations of Christmas cards, please go to that playlist on my channel, and you should be able, and I need more glue, and I'll get some in a minute, so I'm just going to grab something else real quick, and we will put this down. Just like that, and then we're going to center this onto our card base. Oh, that's so pretty. It's like the crowning touch when you put it onto your card base because it just makes, it's like framing a picture. It just makes everything pop. Isn't that gorgeous? So now we need to put a piece of cardstock inside, and I've got a piece right here I think is going to work. So I'm going to lay my card up there, and we're going to cut this down to 4, 5 1/4. And I want to stamp on this before I put it in. And I already have my sentiment. I want to do Merry Christmas. But before I stamp anything, I want to go back again with that red. And again, I'm going to choose that Cherry Cobbler. And we are just going to knock around those edges. Turn it a little bit on this edge and up. Just like that. And now I'm going to move this, and I want to bring my little net back over, and we are going to stamp in black. And my Momento black is right here. And I'm going to do Merry Christmas across the top. Right about there. And I'm giving it a good strong press, and I'm just going to let that ink transfer. Very pretty. And then I have this one. And this one is going to say, the most wonderful time of the year. So let's see if we can get that lined up, like so. And ink it up really good. And stamp right about here. Very pretty. Close my ink pad. Now we're ready to put this inside of our card. So I'm just going to take some liquid glue. And we're going to glue this in right about there. This gives us a nice place to sign our card. And that card is done. Now how pretty is that? And you can see they're both pretty much the same. There's a little difference because the bows look a little different. This looks a little bit different, but all in all, this is the very same card. Have the same ribbons, the same bow, the same sentiments, the same colors. But like I said, you could very easily change this up and do this in a silver and blue, and it would be gorgeous as well. So I hope that y'all have enjoyed watching me create this little masterpiece. It was so much fun, and y'all saw where I got my inspiration from. It was right back here. Let's see. Oops. Craft Tools, Pinterest. That was my inspiration, and this is what I came up with. So you wonder sometimes where I get my inspiration from. This is it. This is exactly the way I roll, and this is what absolutely makes me happy, when I can find something and then elaborate on it, make it a little bit different, make it mine, sometimes change up the colors, sometimes leave them the same. It's always a happy day. Now that's one that I did in that direction. Here's one that I did like this, and then of course I just made the other one like that. So there's like variations of the same card, just done in different manners. Let me pull this one down so you can see it. Isn't that pretty? But you can do this in a variety of ways, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that this is something that you might want to replicate in your craft room. You might want to run with my idea and make it yours. I would love to see what you do. Go over and join us on our Facebook group, Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. Just hit the join button. You will be approved pretty much immediately, or as soon as I get the notification. And then you can start posting your pictures there and share with us what you're doing. And especially if you use Stampin' Up products, I would love to see what you do with your beautiful Stampin' Up products, and you can inspire me. I've had so many people that have inspired me with their creations, so sometimes I need inspiration too. So thanks again so much for joining me, for being a part of my crafty family. May God bless and keep you always, and as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we craft again, God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.